Facebook page for sure. So
yeah, we got plenty of ways to catch us live. You can also see the replay of this very soon, probably by tomorrow on basically any podcatcher that you have, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, all those.
I say some
Apple
of them won't have
iPods,
video, but YouTube does.
Yeah, none of those have video. Now, the video version will be live, obviously, or on YouTube. Front Porch Forensics on YouTube. I think KLRN Radio on YouTube as well. So you can always go back and check this show later and all our archived shows. There's not as many on YouTube, but I think there's 45. This will be episode 46. And you can find those pretty easily on the podcast players. Again, no video on those, but I know it's probably, it's like candy. You don't need to look at it too much because you kind of get addicted to it a little bit because of the beauty.
Because you're so pretty.
Because I'm so pretty. That's right. But tonight, again, like Laura said, is going to be we're kicking off a mini series. We've done mini series before.
We did cults before, for sure.
Yeah, we did cults.
I think that's the only other series we've done.
Yeah, we've talked about women who kill, but we haven't kicked that one off yet.
That one will come later, for sure, because I have at least the first 3 episodes of that one already picked out.
But tonight, we're going to do, again, serial killers of the silver screen. We call them real killers, REEL killers.
Not REAL, because these are fictional characters, obviously.
Mm-hmm. So tonight, like I said, we're kicking off with the main man himself, Hannibal Lecter. This is the one about real killers here on Front Porch Forensics. I noticed something interesting, I thought, on Hannibal, and we're mainly focusing on the movies since it is the cinematic serial killers.
Yeah, I could do a whole different series on just like books of these, because these are based on a series of novels by Thomas Harris.
Wonderful novels.
Yeah.
But
phenomenal author. So,
but a lot of the small details are different. Some of the big details are different in the what's it called? The novel versus the
the book to movie adaptations. They never really ever measure up, and you know me, I'm such a stickler for stuff like that.
She wants to.
It gets to the point that it's annoying.
She wants to be in Hollywood as the slapper,
the book slapper.
Yeah. So if they ever start straying too far off the book, she just slaps
them with a book. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Especially for Stephen King stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, we need to do a series on Stephen King sometime.
Yeah, we should.
But anyways, this is cinematic universe of Hannibal Lecter. I encourage you to go read the books. If you haven't seen the movies, then why not?
I say, where have you been all this time? Like, these are iconic, like, pop culture movies at this point.
So
this character has been, I think Silence of the Lambs was 1991. I was 4 years old when that one came out.
Yeah, I don't remember the years, but yeah.
I think so.
But
I mean, people, if y'all are in the chat, feel free to fact check me. But I do think Silence of the Lambs, the movie, dropped in 1991.
That seems about right.
I mean, I didn't see it until I was older. I was maybe 9, 10 years old. And my cousin Brian got in a lot of trouble for letting me watch that one with him.
Right.
But I don't understand why he got in so much trouble, because Mama can vouch for it that I was reading Stephen King 3 years prior to this.
Yep.
So.
Silence of the Lambs, 1991. So.
Ha! Nailed it.
Since we're going to go through all of them, now there is a Hannibal, what's the name of it? Manhunter.
Yeah, that was the original Red Dragon. It had William Peterson, and I cannot remember the dude's name who played Hannibal Lecter. Which, I mean, he's a phenomenal actor, but I think
Brian Cox.
That's his name.
Just Brian Cox.
Phenomenal actor. We love him in basically everything he's done, and that was not a bad movie. I loved that movie.
Mm-hmm. Now that movie came out in '86,
so a year before I was born,
and that was Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter, but
Yeah.
we're not going to really touch on that movie.
No, because Red Dragon's probably the one with Edward Norton and everything that everybody
Mhm.
knows. So
Right, Manhunter is an adaptation of the Red Dragon book.
yeah,
So-
it was the original Red Dragon before
Mhm.
they made Red Dragon. So
So we got Silence of the Lambs in 1991, Hannibal, the
it was like after he
the
escaped.
second, which
he
is
was
that's
in
the
Italy
second
and-
one, and then Red Dragon comes in 2002.
Again, I don't like going by like the chronological order that the movies were
Oh, I know.
released.
I'm just telling
so,
them when they were out, and then Hannibal Rising coming in 2007.
Yeah,
Now to watch those in chronological order,
you need Hannibal Rising,
Yes.
obviously. Then it goes to Red Dragon, then Silence of the Lambs, and then Hannibal.
I do.
Like if you were gonna watch them like in order based on like Hannibal's life.
Well, I want to
basically.
interject. You got Hannibal Rising, the movie from 2007.
Mhm.
Then watch Hannibal, a TV show. It's a series, like a
Ooh.
10-episode series.
Mads Mikkelsen
Mads Mikkelsen.
was young Hannibal
Yep.
in that, and phenomenal.
Mhm.
Like he did so good with that.
and
We
there's
loved
a
that one.
there's a Will Graham in it as well.
Yeah, it goes. It's like kind of their story. Those two, how
Yeah.
they work together, everything like that. So
Now it's not, it's not from the novels. It's kind of a standalone storyline,
yeah,
but it's still good. So you got Hannibal Rising, Hannibal the TV series, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, and then Hannibal the movie that was from 2001.
I say if we're going cinematic universe though, in order of Hannibal's life, it goes Hannibal Rising, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, then Hannibal.
Uh-huh.
I take out the TV show Hannibal from this entirely.
Okay.
Since we're only talking about the movies.
Well, we was talking about on-screen versions, so I've got notes about that one, but that's fine. What's his name?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mikkelsen.
If I'm pronouncing that right, I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's him.
He Mads Mikkelsen. This is him from the TV show,
Yeah.
and it's a good one. It's not necessary for the Hannibal Lecter storyline like you're talking about,
Right.
but if you see it, watch it. It's fine. It
Yeah,
does
I
not
figured
follow the
when-
books. So
But say he's gone kind of off notes than what I had set up for us because I was thinking only movies is the whole series.
I just wanted to mention it because
Oh,
it's
yeah,
out there.
okay.
But it is by the same name as the movie, so that's why I
And
want
it
to make
does
sure
kind of stay true to the character of Hannibal
Yeah.
and Will Graham.
he
for
does
sure,
a great
so,
he does a great job.
Yeah.
But it is a difference, and I think it's a good filler before Red Dragon too. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
but anyways, it's not necessary, and we're not going to touch on it too much. But I did want to point it out because it does share the name of the movie,
Right.
but it's not. You want the 2001 Hannibal movie with Anthony
Anthony
Hopkins. I almost got him Jack Nicholson mixed up for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, Mads Mikkelsen. It kind of sounds the same.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back to because what we want to do is kind of look at a couple of in order. We're going to look at basically how monsters are made.
Yeah.
What what monsters become, how monsters are hunted, and then why monsters fascinate us in general, especially us.
Us or just like more me and I kind of
Mhm.
rubbed off on you.
But but we're diving tonight into Thomas Harris universe, cinematic universe, with Hannibal Lecter and two killers he interacts with: Francis Dollarhide, known as the Tooth Fairy, and James Gum, better known as.
Well, we call him James Gum, but we don't actually know his real name because that was an alias. So,
They refer to him as James Gum in the movie.
or John Grant or Jamie Gum.
Yeah,
There's
but
a bunch of
better
them.
known as Buffalo Bill.
Right.
This is not going to be. This is not necessarily. It's going to be a very casual conversation, but it's not a casual recap. We will dissect their methods of operation. That's MO.
The MO, yeah.
Documented crimes in the films. Not so much the books, but we may mention how they.
But say I've got the books
differ.
in my library back there in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So
The psychological profiles rooted in trauma and pathology, and most importantly, the real world forensics parallels that make these fictional terrors feel hauntingly possible. Makes the REEL seem REAL.
Exactly. And that's why those movies get to me more than any kind of monster movie in Hollywood.
So we're talking about, especially with Dollarhide, bite mark evidence, then skin processing with Buffalo Bill, cannibalistic rituals with
obviously Hannibal
Lecter, Hannibal the Cannibal, then behavioral profiling connecting fiction to the grim reality of criminal investigations. So, do you want to start with Hannibal first and then work into Dollarhide and those?
Again, Hannibal is really kind of the center of all of it.
Right.
Even with Francis Dollarhide and Buffalo Bill, he's the one that's helping them try to catch them. Like if he were not in prison and everything, he would be an incredible profiler.
Yeah.
Like he would lead directly to their doorstep, I think. But he's trying to teach them at the same time.
Yeah, we
see that especially in like Silence of the Lambs with Clarice Starling, because she's still a brand new fledgling FBI agent.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to teach them how to do this.
Yeah, he's a great profiler, period. But, he's just not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. What is it? Quid pro quo?
Yeah.
So, it's kind of getting paid for it a little bit, if you think of it that way.
And that probably to him is worth more than money.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And I want to touch on Anthony Hopkins as well, because
we mentioned
he made this.
You
mentioned him making this role iconic. You had Brian Cox and Mads Mikkelsen playing variants. You have Aaron Thomas play the child version. You have let's see if I got his name down here. Oh, I don't have it. It's a French name.
Yeah, he was in Hannibal Rising, the one that plays like.
When we get to Hannibal Rising, I'll find.
But he was a model too. I actually remember like years ago when that movie was like brand new and stuff, seeing like I think it was a cologne commercial, and I was like, "That's Hannibal on the TV," because it was that same guy. He was also a model and.
Yeah, and he's from France, but let's say we can get to him when we get to when we talk about that show real quick. But I got it pulled up now. Gaspard Ulliel.
I say with French names, we're gonna butcher them.
I say Ulliel. How's that? Ulliel. Gaspard Ulliel. Yeah. So
I guess. But I mean, if you're familiar again with these movies, you know exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
that's in when he plays young Hannibal. Now, but I want to touch on Anthony Hopkins because he made that role iconic. Because when you mention Hannibal Lecter, or even vice versa, when you mention Anthony Hopkins, a lot of people think Hannibal Lecter before anything else.
Like I was telling you earlier, we see that meme going around that asks the question, like, who is an actor that played a role so well that nobody else could ever come close to it? This is mine.
Yeah.
Nobody can play Hannibal Lecter the way that Anthony Hopkins has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's just iconic. Like, I mean, even when I watch, like, Manhunter, and I love that one because I love William Peterson. Like, he's on my list. Gil Grissom, basically. But Brian Cox just did not bring the same. I don't even know how to describe it. Like the same like creep factor. Like he was so well spoken, but he was so calm at the same time. Like very cultured, very refined, and very witty. Even like there are so many one-liners, even in Silence of the Lambs, that I could quote. Like But Anthony Hopkins did that role in such a way. I don't think anybody else is going to be able to play it and it be the same ever.
Well, Silence of the Lambs came out first,
Yeah, that
and
was
he cemented that character along with his name. I mean, they go hand in hand forever now. And did you know that he
I was
was
going to ask if you were going to
only?
bring that up.
Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah.
to. He was only on there for 20 minutes. That's it.
That
And
was
it
total
was
screen time.
Screen time 20 minutes to make that iconic character and make it his. It's what's the word? What's the word for synonymous?
Yeah.
Synonymous with Anthony Hopkins, and Hannibal Lecter.
You always
They're
you're going to
interchangeable.
automatically connect those two now
You can show
because
people.
of that role.
You can show a picture of one of them, and it's either whichever one it is. People will say, "Oh, that's Hannibal Lecter," or "That's Anthony Hopkins," but it can be a picture of. It doesn't matter what the picture of him is.
I
They're
kind of
going
hate
to
that
catch
because
it.
you know I love everything he's in.
What's your favorite one?
Oh, I don't know.
You can't pick a favorite
I
one.
can't pick a favorite with him. Like Magic is one of his early movies,
Yeah, is
like
that
well
the
before the ventriloquist one.
Ventriloquist one, yeah.
And he was very young in that. And then you've got like Instinct with Cuba Gooding Jr.
That's a great one.
and what's the other? Legends of the Fall.
Yeah.
He was the father in that
Mhm.
one. I don't know that I can actually pick a favorite role that he was in because I don't know. You know me, he's like number one on my list.
Yeah.
So, and there's a reason for that.
Well, this 20 minutes worth of acting, give or take.
Yeah,
In-
cemented
in
that role, like
Silence
you
La-
said.
He said you said he's on your list, but that 20 minutes put him on the list of every director, every screenwriter.
When I say he's on my list, it's that hall pass list
Yeah, I know.
thing. He's always my number one. And everybody's like, but he's so old. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care.
Everybody who knows you understands that. But yeah, that 20 minutes put him on the list of every name in Hollywood.
Andrew said Hannibal should have stuck to waging war with the elephants.
Yeah.
That's good. Like, that was genius using elephants.
Oh, there
in
is.
that war.
There
Like,
also is a movie Hannibal about him as well. But
okay.
you'll see the difference. But I have that one clip from YouTube.
Vincent doesn't like Hannibal Rising.
That's okay.
Okay, this could be a good segue into it because I do think that it was very, very well done in letting us see how Hannibal eventually, inevitably became what he was.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, he was born into.
aristocracy, Lithuanian. They were Lithuanian.
I mean, they
nobility,
were
aristocracy.
noble, super
The
rich.
very, very
you know.
cultured, very educated, very wealthy family. And they were fleeing, obviously, in World War II, the Nazi invasion and everything.
Yeah.
They fled to a country house
Yeah,
that they had.
They had a castle or a mansion. I don't know what they call it, but
yeah.
castle
But, yeah,
basically.
they fled that because
Uh-huh.
it was obviously being now encroached on during the
The
war and
Germans were
everything.
coming. This was World
World War II.
II. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Germans
Nazi
were
infiltration. So.
were on the brink of taking over their town, so they went to their country house
their vacation home,
out
whatever
up in the
you want to call
mountains
it.
and all
Yeah.
that. So.
But I mean,
Now,
Hannibal,
hold on. Now, we're touching on the early life of Hannibal Lecter, and this plays through Hannibal Rising,
Yes.
that movie. And
But say again, all of this, we're not talking about the books. We're only
Yeah.
talking about the movies.
yeah,
here,
because there are
so-
some big differences in the books and the
Yeah.
movies.
So we just need to make that clear. We're only talking about the cinematic universe, the movies. So again, born into Lithuanian aristocracy, the nobility, very cultured, very wealthy, very educated family. They have to flee their main home, this big mansion type thing.
Mhm.
Flee there. It shows them in the beginning. Mom is grabbing like all her jewelry, all her pearls, all her diamonds, everything. They're all packing everything up that's valuable to them, and they're just fleeing that home. So they get to the country home, the vacation home, whatever you want to call it. At this point, you see a lot of Hannibal and his little sister Misha. And Hannibal is a very normal little boy, very connected to his family, especially very connected to his sister.
Mhm.
There's no like disconnect there like we usually think with like sociopaths or psychopaths.
Right.
He's a very normal little boy. He's what, maybe 8, 9 at the time in this?
In the movie, I think around 8. I think in the book he's like 6 or between 6 and 8.
I say
So
it
I
could
think
be,
around
but
8 or yeah.
I say it
8
seems
years
8 or
old.
9 in the movie.
Right.
Misha seems maybe 3, 4 at the oldest.
Mhm.
Very, very young. Again, he's very particularly bonded. He feels protected. He's the big brother. He's a
Mhm.
very normal big brother. So that's what makes this so distinctive to me in my mind, because now we see, like, you know, they've gone to the country home, and now we see like this tank pull up outside the house. These are, I think, Russian soldiers.
Yeah, the
at the
Russians
time.
pull up first.
And they tell him, like, look, we don't want anything other than, like, if you can give us some water, some food, or whatever, we'll be on our way.
Mhm.
So, you know, they're kind of going through all that, and they see this plane start to come overhead, and it's a German plane. So, of course, the Russians now start firing at this plane and everything, and it creates this tiny little battle right here in the front yard
Yeah.
of this country home, where Hannibal and Misha's entire family, I think aunts and uncles, mother, father, they're all slaughtered, like just casualties in this little battle.
Mhm.
I mean, Hannibal sees his mother, father, his whole family shot and everything in front of him. His mother doesn't die immediately. She basically dies in his arms. I mean, we're talking 8, 9-year-old boy, and his mother, like, you know, he runs to her obviously because that's his mama.
Mhm.
We can all understand that. And she's talking about, you know, her dying breath and everything. She's talking about protecting Misha. And the German plane, obviously the Russians had shot it. You can see it actually happening. They bring it down, they fire in there. But the German, I don't know if he was still alive, the pilot or whatever, but flies the plane into the tank.
Yeah.
So now we've got the big explosion, we've got the fire, we've got all this chaos going on, and the belt-fed bullets and everything are in the fire. So Misha comes out onto the porch of the home, and, you know, she's just saying "mama" over and over. Hannibal hears this after his mother dies and everything, and now these bullets from that belt-fed thing in the fire are starting to pop off. So he's trying to get her back in the house. Like, this is the only family he's got left is his baby sister. So gets them back into the house. At this point, it's only them left, is his children. That's all of the family that is left. There is no adult, no one. They are left in this house by themselves, completely alone, in wintertime. They're kind of starving, and then you've got these men that were shown earlier in the movie. I think they are Germans, but they were not actually like SS, like not Nazis. But the Nazis were telling them, like, if you want to be part of us, if you want to be like one of us, you have to prove yourselves.
Mhm.
So they were gonna like kill some of these like hostages, kind of that they had and whatnot. But unimportant, those men are the ones that actually come across this country house, and they find these two children by themselves.
Mhm.
So, of course, you know, they kind of set up camp here. And again, dead of winter, Misha is 3, maybe 4 years old, it seems, in the movie. No older than 5
Yeah.
at the very oldest. She's starting to get sick. They have no food. Like, they find like a deer out there that's frozen, but they also find frozen maggots. So he was like, okay, this thing was rotten before it froze. We can't eat this. They're eating like whatever they can get a hold of, and then this man, as he's eating like some kind of bird, there's feathers. I don't know. You can't really tell what it is. And he's even got blood on his mouth, like when he pulls the hide away, and he looks up at the children on the upper level of the house, like who are looking down at them through the railings.
Mhm.
And all he says is, "We eat or we die." And Misha is coughing at this point. They find out she has pneumonia.
Yeah.
She's going to die anyway. They have no way to get her medicine. They have no way to do anything. So Eat or die.
Now, isn't Hannibal? He's getting sick too, isn't he? At this point,
He's weak, but you don't really like. They check both of the children, but Misha is the one. Like one dude put his ear up to her back and everything to hear her lungs, and says she has pneumonia. She's not going to make it.
Right.
Again, they have no antibiotics. They have no way to treat this. That little girl is going to die, and I absolutely get that. But you still go back to what this man said: we eat or we die. And that's the reason they were checking on the children, because they're like, which one are we going to do this to?
Yeah, which one's the weakest? Which one's going to go first, basically?
Misha is the one, because she was sick. That's who they choose, and I think this is again a pivotal moment in Hannibal's young life, because we're talking like this is before he's even hit puberty.
Right. He's right there in that window.
His entire family has just been slaughtered in front of him.
Well, it's right there in that window where we've talked about where the psyche is developing, and so
those formative years is what they're called. Yeah,
it's so important that whatever happens is instilled into their psyche at these ages.
I say it imprints.
Yeah, and he is prime time, right in that window.
So, I mean, no details even in the movie and everything, but we now know what happens. I do want to mention, like, at the very beginning, you see, like, Hannibal and his interaction with his sister and everything, and she's got this silver bracelet. And he's telling her, it's very, very sweet, M is for Misha, and, she's very, very little, and she just repeats her name. Very sweet moment between them. So that bracelet does come back into play later.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, can you imagine, like, your entire family is just slaughtered in front of you. You're alone for God knows how many days until these bad guys come across your house and find you there. Because, of course, they're going to go into the house, they're going to raid it, they're going to see whatever food or valuables they can get from it. And they find 2 children.
Right.
2 very young children. And there's, 4 or 5 of them, I think? 5, maybe? I can't exactly remember. I wasn't counting. I was getting ready earlier, so.
Well, that's them portrayed in the movie. So,
yeah.
You can kind of see the age range there.
I say definitely the older brother, and again, very typical what we would think is a normal older brother, a normal sibling relationship. Hannibal was not born a monster, and I think that's the point that I'm kind of circling around here.
Well, and later on in the movie, I can't remember if it's Red Dragon or which one exactly it is. He actually makes a statement. It's in the book too. Says nothing made me.
That was Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Well,
and we'll touch on that again later because I actually do quote that.
But say he's not. Well, we'll touch on that later if you got that figured out.
But yeah, in my mind, just from the movies, and I mean, I have the history with the books too. Hannibal was not born a monster. He was a very normal, very healthy, very well-loved little boy. I mean, he connected with other people, especially his little sister. No, this person was not born a monster at all.
Was it nature versus nurture?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we get into is that nature versus nurture. Thomas Harris, like he brought that kind of to the forefront. Are monsters born or are they created? And sometimes, like as some of the people we've talked about, seem to kind of have that bent from birth and everything. That's just who they were even as children. But that's not the case that we see here specifically with the character Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
So no, not born this way.
That trauma is what created him.
So that would be more of a nurture thing.
And the books goes into much more detail about his intelligence, all this than the movies do. Obviously, he's extremely intelligent. He's got, if not a photographic memory, but dang near close. I mean, what is it?
Eidetic memory. Very, very well-educated family, very cultured family. And again, that's that personality type you see in Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, and the books, he talk about how at age 6, he was already reading scientific journal type stuff. And,
more like anatomical
Yeah.
stuff, like the medical
well, I was
type
talking about
things.
that
Yeah.
type level of
Yeah.
reading. Yeah.
Very, very intelligent
Yes.
child.
So he had everything in the world going for him until this happens.
Yeah.
So,
And again, there was nothing in the book or in the films and everything to suggest that he ever had that kind of violent aspect to
Mm-mm.
him. He was a normal little
Yeah.
boy.
Now he obviously he does partake in the cannibalism of his own sister.
But out of necessity, and they fed it to him.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that he
I think if he had had his own choice, he probably
Yeah.
would have starved.
starved to death. But yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Because he was so weak and on the verge of sickness, I guess, or if not sick
Yeah.
already, that the captors, I guess,
Yeah, captors.
they were actually feeding him the broth first.
Yeah.
But yeah, he actually was cannibalizing his own sister,
which
out of
you do
necessity.
see play out kind of towards the end of that movie, but we'll
Mhm.
we'll go into that as we go. But now, like at kind of at the end of this, you see in the movie Hannibal is like his hands are like shackled in front of him, like he was held captive, obviously. Not really handcuffs, but like the metal shackles he had over his hands.
Mhm.
And he's stumbling towards these other tanks that are coming towards him. And you can actually hear them saying, "Oh, okay, it's a child, don't fire,
Right.
all that kind of stuff." And they go pick him up, they take him in. That's where he is rescued
Yes.
at that point. And then the movie kind of jumps to him as more of a teenager.
Mhm.
He is
Late
now in it.
teens,
Yeah,
young man. Yeah.
yeah, he is in an orphanage now. And to add insult to injury, the orphanage is actually his family home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was their
castle.
manor,
Yeah.
mansion, manor,
The
castle,
Lecter-
whatever you want to call it.
The
Yeah, the Lecter homestead,
Lecter
basically.
castle.
Like,
They had a name, but I forget it now.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah, no matter what, it's his own family home here.
and they turned it into an
and
orphanage.
they turned it into an orphanage, yeah. So it kind of opens up like it's a boys' orphanage. It's all
Mhm.
it's all males. You see him not singing along. I guess it's almost like an alma mater or something that the boys were singing. I don't know what they were singing. They were all singing, and then like the quote unquote head boy, I guess, kind of one in charge of the rest of them, comes up and he's like, I see you're not singing again. And one of the boys comes up and says, "Oh, he's mute. He can't." And the head boy says, "Okay, well, at night he seems pretty vocal because Hannibal obviously is still having nightmares. You see him calling out his sister's name in his sleep.
Mhm.
So we know he's not mute." But this boy, very, very abusive and everything, goes to hit Hannibal. And Hannibal just reaches up and like sticks like a fork or a utensil right up in the path of the hand.
Yeah. He doesn't stab him with a fork. He
No.
just holds it up.
He holds it up because this boy has obviously done this before.
Yep.
So he knew how it was going to play out. So he just held that utensil up
Mhm.
to stop the blow. And he gets sent to the headmaster's office, obviously, which the headmaster, that's his mother's room. The headmaster makes sure to point that out. It's his
Mhm.
mother's room. But it's very, very key because he tells Hannibal at this time, you don't respect, what was it? You don't respect the human pecking order. You only hurt the bullies.
Mhm.
And to me, that's very, very telling because even then, Hannibal was now exhibiting violent tendencies, but only towards people who were hurting other people. So again, we don't see this monster come out. He's protecting himself and others.
Yeah, and that probably stems from his nature with his sister as well.
Yeah.
Protecting her. So
I mean, you saw him at the beginning of when the family was like being mowed down in this tiny little battle outside the house. He's running towards them. He wants to help them. So we see this desire to help others, to connect with others, to save them from harm.
Mhm.
We already see this very early on with him. That's why I think that he was not born a monster. He was a good kid.
Yeah, for sure. He was broken and turned in.
And,
that was the
okay,
catalyst, but
yeah.
it grew and turned into something more.
For sure. And again, this is like where they kind of introduce that, like, you only hurt the bullies is what the headmaster says about him.
Mhm.
You only hurt the bullies. So somebody who was trying to hurt other people who were weaker, we see him already trying to stand up for them, trying to protect them. This shifts later on, but like he then runs away from the orphanage and he goes to France because he still has some of like his parents' letters and everything. And there's an address on one of the envelopes that's in France.
Yeah.
So that's where he goes. This is where he meets an uncle who is married to Lady Murasaki,
Mhm.
who he deeply connects with. She gets it too because her entire family was wiped out in Hiroshima.
Mhm.
So she understands this. Like they have this connection in the movie. And she's trying to kind of lead him. She's trying to kind of help him. She's trying to raise him.
Now, in the movie, is that his uncle's wife in the movie? Because in the book, it is.
Yeah,
His aunt. Okay.
like, yeah,
I couldn't remember. I'm sorry.
aunt by marriage.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Like
By marriage, yeah.
we never really actually see the uncle in the movie at
Mhm.
all. We only see Lady
Right.
Murasaki
Yeah, the uncle in the book is much more
prominent.
but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why I couldn't remember if she was like his aunt by marriage, obviously, but or if she just worked for the uncle. I couldn't recall what the
I
movie
want to
said.
say it was marriage for sure.
Yeah,
like
the
she
aunt.
was the wife, so
Mhm.
that's why like she had all this access to the house and everything. She had her own room and everything, even because she talked about this is where I go to pray to my ancestors,
Mhm.
that Japanese culture, like, and she teaches him a lot of that because she thinks that will help him cope with losing his family.
You're right.
She is this entire time trying to guide him.
Mhm.
She doesn't make him into what he is, in fact. And then
No,
there's this.
she adds to his class, to that refinement that he is,
Oh,
him being
absolutely, for
that
sure.
she helps create Hannibal Lecter, the doctor, and
The
the
cultured
brilliant
aspect
Yeah.
of him that we see so
yeah.
much.
So she absolutely does a lot. She trains and creates that, or
Yeah.
pushes that part
Let's
on
say
him.
she was giving him like different cultures,
Right.
learning about stuff like that. So
So she
he
did have
does help him become very refined as a person.
Yeah. So she has a huge influence on that
Yeah.
half of him. Now, he was born into it. He was raised 8 years, we'll say, into it. He had the hard times where he learned another part of himself, another truth about himself.
Yeah.
And then when he leaves and gets with his aunt, she goes back to that training of culture.
Let's say you actually see her teaching him like kind of the samurai stuff. There's
Uh-huh.
a whole scene about that using
Mhm.
the wooden sticks and whatnot. We see all that. Like she is teaching him things because I think that she believes that this connection with another person who is technically family, even if by marriage,
Right.
that it will give him that stability and everything that he lost before.
Could you imagine if, with that intelligence and everything, if he didn't have that reconnect with the aunt to finish that polish?
She
What he coulda
tried.
done,
She tried. And then we see them. They're going to market one day.
This is where the butcher comes in.
Yes,
Mhm.
because I'm not going to verbatim repeat what this very crass man at the
Yeah.
market. He's a he's a butcher, like fish, meat, everything. Like that's what he's selling at market.
Mhm.
But as she's walking by, like he's trying to get her attention the entire time. Hey, Japanese.
Yeah,
Hey,
you know,
Japo. Hey, Jap. Like
the whole cat calling, hitting on, but to the 10th power. I mean, he's
he was.
vulgar.
Again, I'm not going to repeat verbatim what he says, but as she walks right directly past him, he says, "Does your P word run crossways?" And then he smacks her on the butt.
Yeah. As Hannibal would say, he was very rude.
Yes, Hannibal cannot abide rudeness.
But anyways,
And that's what actually, like, that's what he targeted the butcher because a little bit further in the movie, we see them encounter one another at the river while the butcher is fishing.
Right.
And Hannibal, long story short, kills the butcher and everything. But he did it for Lady Murasaki because that man was unbelievably rude and vulgar with her, and he could not abide that.
Yep.
Could not abide it. But he then, and this does come into play in the movie too, he talks about dinner etiquette, especially with fish. That the cheeks of a fish, cheeks, I guess, because I don't think fish really have cheeks, but right there below the eyes, that little fleshy part right there in a fish right below the eyes, were a delicacy. And in dinner etiquette, especially in like proper upscale dinner etiquette, one cheek would be given to the lady of the house, and the other cheek would be given to the guest of honor. So, and when the authorities and everything found the body of the butcher and everything, his head was not there. Did not have his head. The head Hannibal had put at the altar in Lady Murasaki's room where she went to pray to her ancestors and everything. It was on that altar, basically. And the cheeks were also missing from that one. But
Right.
these are people, these first kills and everything were almost, they were the revenge killings. Like, he got back at the butcher for being rude.
Right.
And then he kind of got a taste for it, so to speak, I think. And he wanted, especially, Japanese culture back then with opium and whatnot. He wanted to be able to remember what happened. He wanted to be able to fully recollect what happened to him and his sister. Now, Lady Murasaki does not want to do this with him, so he just takes the opium by himself anyway, and all the memories come flooding back to him, obviously. He remembers the faces and the names of all the men that targeted him and his sister. So that's when he starts going after them, one by one, picking them off. Okay, Owen from Grey's Anatomy, that actor, I can't ever remember his name. It was his daughter, like him and Hannibal and Lady Murasaki are in the restaurant because he figures out like where this man like owns this kind of cafe restaurant thing. The man comes in with his own daughter and everything, and Hannibal realizes that that little girl is wearing Misha's bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
So he I'm not going to go through every single.
That's
murder,
how he
but
finds the group that held him and his sister captive and all that.
He threatened that man with his children's lives to get names and whatnot. We're not going to go through all those murders, but these were murders of revenge for his sister,
Right.
basically. They were not like just because he wanted to. He wanted to get, that's how these started out. And I'm closing in on 8 o'clock, so I'm going to try to burn through the rest of this. At the end of the movie, spoiler alert for anybody who has not seen Hannibal Rising, but towards the end of the movie, like he's on this houseboat of the head guy, the one that was like giving the orders, basically. Ends up on this houseboat with him, and he's got sex slaves on this boat already. I mean, one of the women, please kill him, because she's been held captive, raped daily, like, it's just awful. But he's on this houseboat, and he finally gets the head guy, and, like, the man is pinned down underneath him, and he's actually carving the letter M into his chest. Lady Murasaki runs in and tells him, stop. Forgive them. She is weeping at this point. This woman who has tried to basically raise him and be there for him and try to heal him. She's telling him to stop, saying, please forgive them. And he is like almost frothing at the mouth at this point in the movie. Like he's so into the vengeance aspect of this and causing so much pain to this person. And he eventually tells Lady Murasaki that he loves her. And she is, again, tears rolling down her face. She said, there's nothing left of you to love. And she leaves. And that's the moment where you see Hannibal just go full feral. I think that right there was the moment that he turned into the monster that he is.
Yeah.
Because she says there's nothing left of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just to love, but just there's nothing left of you. Like that boy and everything that was so traumatized is completely gone at this point. So Hannibal Rising to me, very, very important movie to understanding who Hannibal Lecter actually is.
Yeah.
How he becomes what we see in the future movies.
Yeah, I definitely understand why some people prefer that's their least favorite one. And I get it because obviously Anthony Hopkins isn't in it.
Yeah.
But the feel and the speed of that movie is different than the main trilogy and all that as well.
Yeah. But say when you actually get Hannibal as an adult and everything, he's slower. He's more methodical. Every single movement, every single word is carefully thought out. So this is just him again. He's gone full feral. Like he's gotten these men that hurt him, that hurt his family, and he loses himself.
Right.
Then that's the pivotal moment.
And then, like Vincent said earlier, the film was not good. I preferred the novel, and in that case, for sure, I agree with that.
You know me; I'm always going to say the book is better than the movie every single time. It does not matter how much I love the movie; the book is always better.
So, moving off from his early days, you can see how the trauma and everything he went through started that, and I'm sure in the novel it mentions, but I'm sure it's like he kind of blots out what he did to Misha as best he can.
He does. There is that mental block because the last one that he killed was like, you ate her too.
Right.
And you see him like scream when that memory comes back to him. You can see this because he did. He blocked that part out. Like that was his baby sister. He adored her, cherished this little girl. So that level of trauma, especially for kids, they have this ability to just almost erase it.
Yeah, I think that that was the part that finally, like you said, broken that released that the cannibalistic side of him for sure. I think.
Well, that he realized, or maybe in his mind, he was like, "Okay, well, I'm a monster just like they are."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I'm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we do see
release that part of him.
Another thing worth mentioning is in this first movie, he had gotten like a scholarship to this academy and everything that prepared bodies for anatomy students. So at the time, like he's going to school and everything, he's got this whole like journal of drawings and everything, and that anatomical drawings of these bodies that he's helping prepare. So we get this forensic background now that he's got. Right. He understands it. This is the difference between in forensic psychology, the organized killer versus the disorganized. He is highly organized. He's methodical. It's very personal. There's a reason for it.
Right.
And even then, like while the police were trying to find the person who was killing these men, he was able, even in a lie detector test, they were looking at the results later, and the person who ran the test said he reacts to nothing. Like he learned all of this stuff. Like he was able to disconnect himself from a very young age.
Right.
So all that is definitely worth mentioning. That's how we get into his clinical background.
Yeah, he's the
start of it.
He's the perfect textbook example of an organized killer.
We did the episode on I can't remember his name now. The when we did the vampire series, but Chase, Richard Trenton Chase, perfect example of a disorganized killer there. Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about that in other episodes. Y'all can go back and find those. I'm not going to go into too much detail there, but Hannibal Lecter is the epitome of an organized killer. Very educated, again, forensic background there. Socially skilled. He was a meticulous planner. None of this was spur of the moment. And like I said, again, forensically aware of stuff. Everything was very, very meticulous, like I said.
Yeah. Zelda saying hello too.
Hey, Z.
We're about to hop into Mr. Brass is talking about the Tooth Fairy. We're about to get to him just a
Yeah,
minute.
we're coming into him.
The cannibalistic aspect
Yeah.
of him. Do you want to touch on that?
But say you've got all my notes on that.
Yeah,
Again, this will just kind of wrap up that first movie that tells us who he is, how he became what he is.
Punishment. There's kind of 4 parts to it. There's punishment. Victims are rude. We see this play out when he murders the butcher and consumes his cheeks. You talked about that. Possession, similar to Dahmer, only it wasn't about keeping the victims with him. It was wanting total possession of these people. He didn't need them thinking like they will become a part of me
forever.
And, yeah, like Dahmer did. He done it as like a power move almost.
Yeah. Exactly, and that gets into the domination. It's the ultimate exercise of power over another human being.
Yep.
Like, not only do I have this control over your life and your death, your body belongs to me too.
And then the symbolism of it about him with his sister Misha.
Yeah, kind of a reversal of what happened to her. Like, he did to them what they did to her.
Yeah,
essentially. And in my mind, I think maybe there's a part of him that thought that was the ugliest possible thing you could do to another human being.
Mm-hmm.
It was like almost the ultimate insult.
Yeah.
Like, not only do I have control over your life and death, but even after death, your body is still going to belong to me, and I can do with it what I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably saw that was like the ultimate ugly thing that he could do to them to punish them.
Yeah, but
and we do actually have a real life, like we mentioned Dahmer a second ago.
Yeah.
There was a man, Alfredo Bali Trevino, was actually a real doctor that inspired the character of Hannibal Lecter, because Thomas Harris met him while he was researching a story in, what was it, Mexico?
Yeah.
The dude was not a cannibal, though, but his intelligence, his elegance, the calm demeanor is what we see now that he wrote into that character, Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins made it his own, but yeah, that was the part.
Yeah, that Thomas Harris, the creator of Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, the cultural side of Hannibal Lecter come from that doctor. But he's also got, he used Albert Fish and Dahmer as well as kind of.
I say very loosely.
Yeah.
Especially kind of more the sadism and everything, the whatnot of Albert Fish and the almost punishment aspect of it, even though Albert Fish wasn't punishing his victims, just the victims' families.
Yeah.
Based on the letter he wrote to Grace Budd's parents. So, but very loosely based on those real life.
I'm sure there's several that's he tied into to create the character. So, but he is. Like I said, iconic, and Anthony Hopkins really brought him to life with that.
Absolutely.
So, if Hannibal represents control, then Frances Dollarhide represents chaos struggling to become control.
Yeah, he was also an organized killer in the books and the movies.
We're moving to.
Now we're into Red Dragon.
Red Dragon. I want to point out that at the beginning of Red Dragon, you have Will Graham,
played by Edward Norton.
Yeah, Edward Norton, and then you have Hannibal Lecter. They're kind of working together.
Yeah, like they actually were friends. Like Will Graham, the character played by Edward Norton, respected Hannibal Lecter for his psychiatric mind, basically. And Will Graham did not know at the time that the person he was tracking actually was Hannibal Lecter, the doctor, because he starts talking about like what was the line he was, because Hannibal was like, the trophies and everything, why is he keeping them? And Edward Norton says, he's not keeping them, he's eating them. And then Edward Norton kind of sits back after a few minutes of talking and everything. He sits back, he goes, I almost had it. Like, something almost clicked in his mind, but he said he was so tired. Like, and then, Hannibal stands up, just kind of smiles at him because Hannibal's not a stupid man. He understands, okay, he's got me. He is about to figure it out.
Yeah.
So he walks out of the room like, oh, okay, it'll come to you, like just kind of comforting him. He leaves the room. And then Edward Norton, Will Graham stands up. He's kind of looking through the books. He sees one book. He picks it up. It's marked, and he opens it up, and I think it's in either French or Italian. But there's a notation, a handwritten asterisk by one thing, and it says sweetbreads above it. Sweetbreads are not actually breads.
Mm-hmm.
They're flesh. And everything kind of clicks. And you can see it on his face.
Yeah.
Like that dawning realization, like, oh my God, he's right here. The guy I've been hunting is right here. He turns around, Anthony Hopkins takes a stiletto or something, stabs him in the liver. He does this on purpose. Remember his anatomical background. And he says, you're in shock right now. I don't want to make this hurt for you.
Right.
Because he actually respected Will Graham.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how Hannibal Lecter gets caught.
And I think it's important to go back to that TV show, Hannibal, because they build this friendship between Hannibal
absolutely.
and Will Graham in that 10-part series, whatever it is.
Did we have I think it was like 3 seasons of that one.
But that actually tells how they become friends and how they're working together and all these kind of things.
Yeah, it was beyond a professional respect. Like they actually, even for Hannibal, I think that's the reason he didn't want Will Graham to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Because he considered him a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a photo of Edward Norton right there. It was after the capture. It's when Anthony Hopkins is in that iconic cell.
Yeah, this is the first time we see the glass.
Yeah, because cell. Will Graham, even as he's like losing consciousness, shoots him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how. That's how Hannibal Lecter gets caught. That's how he ends up with Dr. Chilton in that cell. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to do a whole thing on Dr. Chilton one day. I mean, there's narcissism and ego just on a different scale, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dr. Chilton's just, he's a whole thing in and of himself. But now Will Graham, like he had, after that attack and everything, after he recovered, and you see in the movie, he's got this big scar on his side. But he's retired to Florida with his wife and his son. And Jack Crawford comes to him and asks him, like, because there's been a series of 2 murders at least, family annihilations, one in Atlanta, one in Birmingham, a month apart. I can't remember the Jacobys and somebody else. I can't remember their names now. But anyway, they're trying to find the man who is doing this. So Jack Crawford goes to Will down in Florida and everything and asks him if he'd be willing to help out. And not only if he'd be willing to help out with that case, but if he would go, again, talk to Dr. Lecter.
Right.
And, I mean, even tells him, like, look, if you don't want to do this, like, I understand completely. I get it. But he also knew that if he went to Will with this, that part of Will's mind that latches onto stuff like this wouldn't be able to say no.
Yeah.
Because that's just part of who Will Graham, the character, is. He is able to not just get into the mindset of these people, but almost adopt it himself without actually committing any of the crimes.
So the guy they're going after is Francis Dollarhide, and they call him the Tooth Fairy.
Why do they call him the Tooth Fairy?
Right, that's what I was going to
that's what I'm giving you that segue there.
Do you want to go how, I guess you can start with his MO, I guess.
We need to start on like how you have to go by how he commits each of these murders in the books and the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically, and it's very telling, he targets families, for sure. He's a family annihilator just without being part of the family himself. It's always the wife who is the subject of his fixation. So when he scopes out their homes, Like, this is very, very methodical. It takes him probably at least, because there's a month between them, the lunar cycle, a month between each murder. I think in that entire month between them, he's researching these families. And we find out how he's able to get inside their homes without actually getting inside their homes, first off. But when he does finally commit the murders, the husband is killed immediately first.
Yeah.
That's the one person, that's the man in the house who would present the biggest problem to him, because he would potentially be able to stop him. He would be able to put up a fight, a fairly fair fight. I mean, two men.
Yeah, Dollarhide would see him as a threat, so you take him out first.
But say you eliminate that threat and everything. He then disables the wife by usually a shot to the spine, disables her. Then any children in the home, he goes for them next. And again, clean kills for the father and the children. He really has no use for them other than creating an audience for what he's about to do to the wife and mother.
Yeah.
That's why he takes them out of their bedrooms, out of their beds and everything, because you see Will Graham looking at the blood trail going down the hallway. And he's like talking into his recorder. He's like, he moved them out of their bedroom, like brought them to the master bedroom. Why does he do this?
Mm-hmm.
The father, the children, they all have pieces of mirror.
Yeah, he would break every mirror in the house.
And more than just for what he needed for this.
Yeah, and then he would break pieces of those mirrors off and put on the eyes, reflecting outward.
Yeah. And that was very, very telling for him, because that was part of it. It wasn't just him fantasizing about the wife and mother of this family. He needed an audience for what he was going to do to her, and that is very, very telling to his psyche.
Yeah.
His need that he was fulfilling there, because this is a man that we see in the movies and everything, strong feelings of inadequacy.
Yeah.
So
part of that would be, it would start with, he had some physical
deformities. He had a like the cleft palate, the cleft lip and everything, which was surgically corrected as a child. We don't know what happened to his parents, but he ends up living with his grandmother. His grandmother is who raised him. An extremely abusive woman. So, I mean, even for him, you see in the movie, he's upstairs, like in the attic or something, working out, and you hear the grandmother's voice, which is basically in his head. And he's still talking to it. Like, he still hears this woman's voice in his head.
It's like
calling him a dirty boy. He's ugly. He's filthy.
And that kind of leads back to like a real world example would be Ed Kemper.
Oh, absolutely. Because, I mean, you see Ed Kemper, the verbal abuse he took from his mother and everything. All of the co-eds that he killed were proxies for his mother until he finally got up the courage to actually kill her. He removed her vocal cords and tried to like put them down the garbage disposal, and the garbage disposal wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But then after he killed his mother, like, he was basically done. He turned himself in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know necessarily if Francis Dollarhide, the Tooth Fairy, I don't know if these women were like proxies for his grandmother. I think there obviously was a sexual crime.
Yeah, I think it was more to not necessarily a proxy for the grandmother, but maybe to prove her wrong. Like, I am
this strong boy, this
and attractive, and all these kind of things.
Yeah, because I mean, he worked out a lot. Like, I mean, his deformity, even they put a little scar in the movie on his lip and everything.
I've got the picture up. You can see.
Yeah, and I mean, they did very well with the makeup and everything, because it's a very subtle scar, which usually happens with cleft surgeries and everything. You still see the scar, but it's really not noticeable. I think Joaquin Phoenix actually has one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's in real life, actually. So, I think this one was just makeup, but I don't think that actor actually has
I had to think back at Gladiator to see he's definitely his prominent there in that movie. So
And I think that was natural. I think they in that movie they kind of at least leaned into it. I'm not exactly sure. Don't take my word on that.
well, I know
But
the Dollar
we're
Hide
talking about the
character.
scar
Yeah, the
there.
Dollar
Like
Hide.
he thought that was a deformity.
Yeah, he saw it as a deformity. He also had a speech impediment as well.
Well, because of that, the
Yeah.
cleft palate and everything, it does impede your speech and everything growing up.
So between that and the grandmother's constant abuse and him kind of having to take care of her as well, he had social isolation to add on top of all that.
Yeah, you
So-
know this boy had no friends. Because I mean, it even talks about like in the books, at least him being bullied by his peers and all that kind of stuff. So there's this again, like you said, the social isolation for him,
Mhm.
especially. He doesn't believe that he's enough for anybody, not as a friend, not as a lover, not even as like a child or a
Yeah.
grandchild. He does not believe this sense of inadequacy that I think is the core of his character.
And I think the attacking the wives, the women, is trying to prove that wrong.
If I say,
And in the movie, he also has she's blind, but he has
I think
a girlfriend.
that's why he connected with her because she
Yeah.
couldn't see him. Like,
But I think there's a couple of scenes where she's actually making moves on him, and he is extremely uncomfortable.
yeah,
Because I think his psyche is so broken that he's
Oh.
convinced himself that he isn't attractive, that he isn't enough.
there's
And all of a sudden, this woman's giving him something that counteract or that contradicts what he believes. So it's kind of
So
throwing
that
him off.
causes that dilemma
that
in his
storm
psyche.
inside of him going on.
There's actually very beginning, like because she's the one that works in the dark room. She kind of helps develop all the film and everything that because he works in a film company basically. They do the home movies, they do photos, they do all that kind of stuff. She works in the dark room because obviously she doesn't need light. She's blind.
Every room's a dark room.
That shouldn't be funny.
It's accurate. Tony
Y'all
Topslot would agree with me.
Y'all see what I deal with?
No, they don't if they're blind. But the ones watching probably can see
I lobbed that one right down the middle, didn't I?
it. Yep.
Okay. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like she's talking to him, she's all friendly and everything. Then that kind of like skeezy employee comes in, asking her, "You want to ride home? Like we could maybe stop at a bar and everything, all this kind of stuff," and kind of winking at Dollarhide in there. So I can't remember his name now. I just watched it, but I can't remember. Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, she takes the bus home. It's pouring down rain and everything. He pulls up in his van and just shouts out the window, "Ride with me." And she's like, "Oh no, it's okay." All that kind of stuff. He was like, "No, ride with me. It would be my pleasure." So he gives her a ride home. They get to the house and everything. She lives alone, which is phenomenal for a blind woman. And she plays it very, very well. Like even cutting a slice of pie, like just kind of guiding with her hands and whatnot. Talking to him about seeing a cougar once before she lost her sight as a child. All that kind of stuff. And then she tells him, she walks up, she goes, "Let's just get the elephant out of the room. I can tell you've had some kind of soft palate surgery." She said, "But you speak very well." She's like, "You shouldn't be self-conscious about this." So that's what she's telling him. And then she wants to touch his face to see if he's smiling, and he stops her just right before she touches like his mouth. Stops her and says, "Just take my word for it that I'm smiling."
Yeah.
Because he's still so insecure that he doesn't want her to feel his face, because I think he thinks that he'll still be ugly to her, even though she's blind.
Mm-hmm.
But her blindness is actually like a positive thing for her in this budding relationship here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has now this idea of himself, I don't know that I'd really necessarily call it a delusion. It's more of a fantasy about himself, because he wants himself to be seen as powerful, to be seen as something, even if not beautiful, just something that is not broken, I guess, maybe. Because this is where we get into his fascination with the William Blake painting of the Great Red Dragon.
Yep.
This is again, his fantasy identity, it's that identity is like a source of power in his mind.
Mhm.
It's a strong thing.
And there's he gets into the museum where it is, and he's able to see the actual print of it,
Yeah.
and he tears it out and starts eating.
But say
the
he
print.
actually knocks out the museum worker
Yeah.
and everything, and then like starts eating the painting
Mm-hmm.
itself. So I mean, again, I think this identity around the painting of the Great Red Dragon is it's his defense. It's a defense mechanism because he's always felt inadequate. He's always felt less than. This is something that is powerful. This is something that is above other people. You know,
Mhm.
above humanity, basically. And he kind of takes that and creates this identity around it.
Right.
And that is why his murders are what they are. And I'm going to go back to the mirrors and the eyes. Again, the father, I think, is killed and everything just to get rid of the person who is most likely to be able to stop him. You obviously take out the biggest threat to yourself first. Then the children after that and everything, but he drags them back into the bedroom where he's disabled the mother and the wife. He props them up. He puts mirrors in their eyes where they're reflecting outward so he can see himself in their eyes.
Mm-hmm. See how powerful he has become.
He wants a witness to this.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this power over this woman and he wants other people to witness it, even in their deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is extraordinarily telling psychologically. So that's the entire reason behind the mirrors.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be able to see himself in what he's doing.
Well, you mentioned that he bases his power and his strength from that red dragon. And he makes it his identity, as you were saying.
Extensive tattoo work and everything that goes along to enforcing this fantasy identity.
And throughout this whole movie, Dollarhide, like I said, when you mentioned when she was trying to feel if he was smiling or not, he said, "No, just believe me that take my word for
I'm
it."
Smiling,
because throughout the whole movie, he pretty much RBFing all the time. Right.
But I say you can see that there's never a happy, like a genuinely happy moment for him.
But with this tattoo and his new identity, we get this from him.
Yeah.
When he is in his red dragon
confident.
When he's in his red dragon persona, that's what you get.
And again, he was showing that reporter that he had basically hot tarred to a old school wheelchair that belonged to his grandmother. That was played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, which was a great role.
But for those who will be listening on the podcast later, he's actually smiling at this point. He big eyed. He looks complete, like a complete happy person.
Let's go into his signatures for the murders, especially with the bite marks.
Yep.
And I do want to bring up a thing that we didn't do in the beginning, like when he's working out and he hears the voice of his grandmother. You see him with these like dentures, these false teeth that he's taking in and out. That's where they're getting the bite marks from.
Because he's leaving bite marks on his victims.
Yes. And that's where like forensic odontology comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basically forensic dentists.
Right.
So, they're talking about like the jagged marks in the teeth and everything, but these are again prosthetics that he's putting in intentionally.
Well, you've seen it. We've talked about it too, especially with Dahmer, because he would bite folks and leave. There's one.
No,
famous,
Ted Bundy.
Yeah, it was Bundy.
It was Bundy.
Yeah, it was Bundy. There's one famous photo on the butt cheek where he bit, and they actually was able to do the casting and match up to his teeth.
One of the things that they presented in court was an overlay where you see that it's like identical.
So that's kind of what forensics odontology is. And so y'all are familiar with it. We've talked about it before. But this guy used false teeth.
Yeah.
And I got a picture up there too, and there's some pretty gnarly looking teeth.
Yeah, that's at the beginning when he's working out and you hear the grandmother's voice and he takes out these teeth that you see right there that he's showing in the photo. he takes them out because, I mean, again, they're not his real teeth, but he is aware enough that the need to bite will tie him back to the victims definitively
Mm-hmm.
if he were not to use the false ones.
Yep. And I think it was also a way that he could put on the red dragon and shed it as well. Because he
Taking the teeth out.
yeah,
would
because
be-
he would take on this persona of the red dragon completely, and I think that was part of that ritual of becoming
Yeah.
that dragon.
These rituals and everything will, and I use ritual and signature kind of interchangeably because these rituals are very, very important
Yeah.
to them. They are absolutely necessary for the murders.
But that's why they called him the Tooth Fairy, because of the bite marks.
Yes, exactly.
That's what we was talking about there.
What we decide, like BTK was the strongest real life comparison
I think
there.
BTK would probably, as far because of the way he done the family
Yeah.
killings, and he would bind them all up and pose them, and this is
Yeah.
elaborate type. Not that BTK did exactly the same, but
It's the
kind of
closest that we've got that came to mind for
but
sure.
it's and then
What do we say? Son of Sam was the other one, just because it was a claimed outside external influence there. The Red Dragon was the one doing the murders, not Francis
Exactly.
Dollarhide.
And that's why I think the false teeth plate was removable, so because he could shed that skin, he
Right.
could shed that identity. And but the son of Sam thing was complete BS. I don't think he.
Well, I mean,
actually
even
believed it.
BTK said that there was an external quote unquote force like driving him to do it. No, all that is a lie. Like they were just saying that to try and maybe get lesser sentences or something.
That's all that is.
Yeah. They knew exactly what they were doing and why they were doing it. So
that is Francis Dollarhide, and I think Francis Dollarhide is a phenomenal villain in the movie.
Oh,
Phenomenal.
absolutely. Like if y'all have not seen Red Dragon, seriously, go find it. It's the dude that played Voldemort that plays Francis Dollarhide.
What is his name?
I don't know. I just know he plays Voldemort.
I can't remember now myself.
But are you looking him up or?
Yeah, I was going to, but I ain't going to
Yeah.
fool with it.
I
Anyway,
figure I'm about to say
it's Voldemort with a nose. It's cool.
It's Voldemort, but he actually is an attractive man, and
Yeah.
I mean, we see this. Ted Bundy was an attractive man. Jeffrey Dahmer was attractive. Like these don't look like monsters,
Right.
and we've talked about that before on the show.
So we're moving now on to
we're going into Silence of the Lambs
that's
now.
the main one. That's the big one that everybody knows.
Again, I probably saw this movie for the first time when I was maybe 9, 10 years old. It came out in 1991, but obviously I was only 4 then. But I was spending the night at one of my cousin's house because us girls had like to spend the night parties basically every weekend. And her older brother, who was 13 years older than all of us at the time, he was left to watch us and everything while
Brian?
Yeah. While Aunt Teresa ran to the store to like get snacks and food for everybody. So, but he had rented Silence of the Lambs. And of course, like when the girls were in the bedroom, like doing their thing, you know me, like I hear like the scary movie going on. So I came out and he was like, don't tell your mom I let you watch this. Because it was actually at the point where Buffalo Bill was doing the little dance.
Yeah.
And the tucking and everything. He was like, you can't tell your mom.
So we've already covered
He got in a
Hannibal.
lot of trouble for
We've
that.
covered Hannibal already. So we're moving on to Buffalo Bill.
Arguably one of the more popular, I guess, movie serial killer villain types.
He's
like,
definitely, I mean,
because like you said, Anthony Hopkins only had 20 minutes of screen time in that entire movie. It was centered around searching for Buffalo Bill. So he's going to be the one that we're now discussing.
I think everybody knows who Buffalo Bill is, I think, right here.
But so if you have not seen Silence of the Lambs by now, you can't get mad at us for spoilers. Because, again, I was 4 years old when that movie came out. But
even if you don't know who Buffalo Bill is exactly, or the movie, you're going to recognize this certain part right here. That song is by Lazarus Goodbye Horses.
You're going to have to stop it or I'm going to start singing it.
I played it at the beginning of the episode. We'll probably close with it as well. But I think everybody hears this song and
immediately
you see him dancing around and all this kind of stuff. It's now, I do want to touch that where Dollarhide wanted to become a dragon, Buffalo Bill wants to become something else entirely. He's got a severe identity disturbance, childhood rejection, pathological self-loathing.
Yeah, I do want to touch on this because it is one of the most misunderstood, and everybody knows me, so y'all know I'm not like advocating for or against anything here. It's one of the most misunderstood aspects of this movie. Buffalo Bill was not actually a transsexual / transgender person.
No,
he was not.
Mm-mm.
If you're approaching him through Lecter's assessment and within the logic of the movies and the books, the distinction is important because Thomas Harris, through Hannibal Lecter and even Jack Crawford and Clarice, repeatedly emphasizes that Bill's crimes are not motivated by gender identity or anything like that. He did not actually think that he was like a man in a woman's body. He did not believe that.
He did not. Hold on right here. Okay, I'm going to turn the song off now because I'm going to listen to the whole thing. Yeah, and they even touch on it in the movie, like you said. He's not a true transgender. Yeah. He doesn't even believe he's transgender.
They called it transsexual back then, but that's what they've kind of co-opted that term and changed it into something else now. So I say transsexual / transgender.
Yes.
He was not actually one of those.
And the thing too is the people out there that have that issue, transsexuality, transgender, whatever,
the gender dysphoria,
they should see Buffalo Bill's performance.
Yeah.
And if they want to be offended by it, that's fine, because it is not a true representation of a transgender person, because he's not a transgender person.
I say he's doing this for himself, for his own gratification. Yeah. I mean, he even when he's putting on makeup, like, would you sleep with me? I'd sleep with me.
Would you do me? I would do me.
I would do me so hard.
I think that's how they actually added it in the TV version, is do me.
Yeah.
So
he's doing this for his own benefit because it makes him look different him look like a different person in his own mind.
Yep.
Which was his entire goal.
It's a complete, it's not a change into the dragon. It is a complete change from his self.
And that's where you mentioned the self-loathing just a second ago. And Hannibal Lecter actually touches on this psychological aspect of that. He hates who he is. He wants to be someone else, anyone else. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be someone else. Like when Clarice first discusses this case with Lecter, she assumes that Bill may be a transsexual. And Lecter dismisses this almost immediately. His famous observation is, and this is a direct quote because I can quote this movie very, very well. Billy is not a real transsexual.
Mm-hmm.
Because Clarice is asking about this. Genuine transsexual applicants, even back then, were extensively screened, and Hannibal points out that this man had applied to Johns Hopkins for reassignment surgery and was rejected because even the doctors there noticed other underlying pathologies.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was not somebody who actually was suffering from like gender dysphoria.
Right.
This was something completely different, and the doctors even then noticed it.
Wouldn't it be nice if they actually took screening seriously again?
Johns Hopkins, even today, now will not actually perform reassignment surgeries anymore. They will not do it. But yeah, his observation, Billy is not a real transsexual.
Mm-hmm.
So from a forensic profiling standpoint, Lecter actually sees Buffalo Bill as someone suffering from profound self-hatred and an identity disturbance rather than like gender dysphoria itself. For whatever reason, we don't get a ton of his background here. For whatever reason, whatever his alias, I even want to touch on the aliases because they mention John Grant, Jamie Gum, James Gum. It's always a JG initial, but the alias even changes, and I think that is also indicative of him wanting to be somebody else.
Yep.
So we don't. I mean, where's my quote? Bill hates who he is and believes becoming something else will solve that problem. So that's the driving force. Like whatever it is in Buffalo Bill's background, it has caused him to hate himself so much that he needs an entirely different identity, whether that's either through his name and the aliases that he uses or through his physical appearance. He needs to be somebody else.
Mm-hmm. He needs to be born again.
Yeah. So if Hannibal Lecter is the key to understanding the case, like we see in that movie, then I think the moth here is key to understanding Buffalo Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Because Clarice mentions they found, quote, an object inserted into her throat,
right?
Deliberately inserted into her throat, I think is the actual line.
Mm-hmm.
In the Frederica Bimmel case, the one that was weighted down, they found in the river.
Right.
Lecter immediately, with no hesitation, says, "Was it a butterfly?"
Yep.
And that is, oh my God, that is incredibly revealing right there, because without any other information, all she said was it was an object deliberately inserted into this victim's throat. He instantly recognizes that whoever placed that insect understood the symbolism of it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, the moth itself, not a butterfly or anything, but it's still the same.
It's a death's head moth,
which is actually a real species.
Yeah, a lot of people doesn't. They think it was made for the movie, but it's an actual real moth.
I can't remember how they pronounce the name of it in the movie because those Latin names are hard to pronounce. But yes,
I think it is Deathahedicus mothicus.
No,
I'm pretty sure that's what they said.
I can't even remember now.
Look at that freaky thing. It's not freaky. It's absolutely beautiful.
I was about to say, it's a stunning moth.
Yeah.
Like, I even have it on my t-shirt here, guys. I don't think you can see it because of the plant and the microphone, but still. I'm wearing my Buffalo Bills body lotion t-shirt.
For right those who's going to be just podcast only, just look up Death Head Moth and it will pop up images.
I say it's a very large moth too, because the picture you've got up shows it like a human hand holding it, and it's a large moth.
But I would also encourage you listeners to catch the live, so you can see some of the.
Oh yeah, we try to put up clips and images and everything whenever we possibly can. So
plus, you can see how pretty she is and how handsome I is.
We don't want more people obsessed with us. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, the insertion, it was the cocoon. It wasn't a full moth or anything. It was the cocoon that was wedged down in her throat.
Yeah.
So, like, she takes it to the entomologist and everything that she knows, where that's how she finds out that it's a death's head moth. But this tells Dr. Lecter that this is not simply murdering for murder's sake. Like, it's just not. He is communicating this inmost struggle within himself.
Before Lecter finds out about the moth, which he at first says butterfly, but they had already filled him in on he was removing skin from the victims, right?
Yeah, that's why he got the nickname Buffalo Bill, because, as Clarice said, because he quote unquote skins his humps.
Yeah, so he knew, Lecter already knew that, was privy to the knowledge that he was skinning.
Removed,
he was removing skin from his victims.
But yeah, whether it be a moth or a butterfly, like again, when she just said an object was deliberately inserted into the throat, and his immediate response, the question was it a butterfly?
Yeah.
He knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah, because he had already been thinking about it. Obviously, why would
The
they want to move?
transformation.
Why would they want to remove skin? And he says it later too. Why? But yeah, so he was already several steps ahead
Oh,
just from the information that skin was being removed. He has already started building that in his mind that this guy is trying to change what he is.
so you kind of mentioned, or at least kind of hinted at it, my favorite line in the entire movie, and I don't know why it's my favorite line. It's just there's something about it. He's talking to Clarice, Marcus Aurelius. Think, what is it in and of itself? What does he do? This man you see, and she says he kills people, and he just sits there. He goes, "No, that is incidental."
Mm-hmm.
Love that line because yes, the murders are incidental to what he is doing.
Yeah, that line, he's almost like, "No, keep up." What is it? Chandler tells Joey, "Get to it faster."
Yes.
So it's kind of that moment with him,
He recognizes that she's close to understanding it. The killings, the murders are incidental to what this man is doing. What is it that he's doing? What is it in and of itself?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Oh, well, he's just murdering people." No, that's incidental to what he's doing.
Exactly.
So, again, the moth tells Dr. Lecter that this is not simply murders. The perpetrator is communicating with them. He's telling them what he's trying to do. So the moth, or again, he thought it was a butterfly at first, but moth, butterfly, basically same process here. Doesn't matter.
Right.
A moth is a nighttime butterfly to me. I mean, that's just it. They're nocturnal butterflies.
It's a goth butterfly.
I like that better.
Yeah.
But it represents metamorphosis.
Yes.
It represents transformation,
Mm-hmm.
which is the core of Buffalo Bill's little motive.
Yeah.
Here, his motivations.
Just like the caterpillar, he wants to become something completely different.
Yeah.
Something completely unrecognizable to what it was
yeah,
before.
it's not improved, it's not healed, it's a transformation.
Yeah.
It's something completely different than what it was before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason I think I love this movie of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because there's just so much to unpack there with him. Again, this idea of transformation becomes the central obsession and driving motivator for Buffalo Bill.
Yeah. Everything to do with his crimes points to that. It's the skinning of the
he
victims.
transforms his victims into
Mhm.
just raw material that he can use for himself, which is probably not the greatest way to put it, but raw material.
Yeah, well, the material
being the
he's using
skin.
that material, which is their skin, to make his own suit.
But he transformed them from a person into just material he can use.
Mm-hmm. And then he takes that material, which is their skin, and he turns it into clothing, basically.
A skin suit is what I think Clarice said. Yeah.
So he's taken the death of the caterpillar to the creation of the moth.
Yeah.
So he's taking death and turning death into life, or death into creation, through that, through killing it, making a suit. The suit becomes something new, which would give him a new life.
If I say he's hoping that it changes himself into someone new.
Exactly.
Someone other than what we never actually even know his real name. Again, I've named several of the aliases that he has, and I think the aliases are also that identity change that he needs.
I would assume his real name actually starts with a J and last name with a G, because it's
every alias every single alias is John Grant, Jamie Gum, James Gum, JG every single time. So but yeah, he's hoping that in the process of these murders, which again are incidental, like if he could find skin somewhere else and change himself in that way, he would probably. But it's the act of the murder turning death into something different.
Yep.
So, I mean, that cocoon was not left in her throat randomly at all. It's inserted. It's deliberate. This is a ritual signature that he had.
Mm-hmm.
We only see it necessarily brought up in the Frederica Bimmel case in that movie. But you have to know that it was probably in the others, too. because that's such an important core part of his identity. The transformation
Yeah.
from the
Well,
caterpillar to the moth and whatnot.
and they even talk about how he's actually he was able to get these moths because he's growing them. He's
I say
tending
he
them
had to have the
himself.
eggs imported,
Yeah.
for sure. But yes, he is growing them from larvae.
So it's
From
not
eggs
like
to larvae and-
it's not like something he had found. Oh, this would be neat. This is absolutely part of his plan. Part
You
of his.
see him talking to them, and like one, like he puts up close, and like you can see his little feelers on his nose and everything. He loves these
Yeah.
things.
So yeah,
They're like any one of our dogs to us. Like
it's 100% intentional, and I think he
Yeah.
probably did put it in everyone
and I do have thoughts.
at least somewhere on each victim.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
or somewhere around them, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I think that was absolutely, because that is very ritualistic.
hmm
That's going to be somewhere, even if the movie didn't show it.
Yeah, it's not like an afterthought. This is
Yeah.
part of the ritual.
And my thoughts on that are kind of multifaceted. There's the idea of rebirth.
hmm
The cocoon represents the emergence into a new form for him, which is what he wanted. He wants to be someone other than who he is.
Yeah.
Bill sees himself as being trapped in the wrong existence, although not necessarily in the wrong body like we think transgenders are claiming today. So it's not that.
Mm-mm.
Again, very misunderstood part of the movie, but it is absolutely not that.
I think the reason,
And I'm not saying that like to like
no,
be on their page
it's not
or
like
anything, but
it's not. He wasn't transgender. The fact that he chose women to make a woman suit is because that's just the opposite of what he is.
yeah,
I don't think
Exactly.
he was trying. I don't think he felt like he was necessarily born a woman and trapped in that body. He was just born wrong and trapped in that body. So he wanted to change
A new
everything
body.
about it. And to him, being a male, then a female is the opposite. So it would make sense to make a female.
I mean that
suit.
absolutely tracks. But yeah, again, very misunderstood part of the movie these days. And y'all, everybody knows me. Like I'm not on the side of this gender ideology bullcrap that we see these days. But this just isn't that.
There's people that actually legitimately have these issues.
Right.
But
I'm
there's
friends with a lot
also
of these people.
there's also this group that, oh, this is the new thing, and they
Or it's a fetish.
yeah, well, that's what I was getting to. It's like it's the hot topic,
Yeah.
and or like you said, a fetish, all these kind of things.
We see
So-
more of the trend thing going on because we have seen it predominantly in young adult autistic people.
Mhm.
And they are very susceptible to trends and everything because they do want to fit in with their peers and everything.
Mhm.
So if they think this is what their peers are doing, that's what they're going to do.
And it gets some attention from their circle.
Right.
And that's
But yes,
fine.
then there is also, even separate from that, it's the autogynephilia, that fetish, which we see a lot because we've seen these men like undressing and even masturbating in women's restrooms and stuff
Mhm.
like that, because that gives them that sexual thrill, that power over women that they feel like they're lacking.
What'd you call that? The I gotta feel you.
Autogynephilia.
Autogynephilia. Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. But
Anyways,
but yeah,
we digress.
Yeah. Buffalo Bill is not a transgender individual. He's not a transsexual. He's not transgender. He's just not. Like, y'all know how we feel about this. Y'all know where we stand on this issue. That's just not what's happening in this story.
Mhm.
Like, we know he doesn't suffer from gender dysphoria or anything else. The cocoon, the moth, and everything symbolizes his struggling to emerge from himself, from whatever made him hate himself so much that he feels like he needs to be somebody completely different.
Mhm.
That's what that represents. Then there's, like you mentioned, the creation through destruction. The you turn death into something different.
Mhm.
I call that the creation through destruction. To create the moth, the caterpillar has to cease to exist. Buffalo Bill sees himself in this point of the series and everything. He is the caterpillar. The caterpillar has to cease to exist.
Yep.
Now he's not going to kill himself because he knows that then he'll just die.
Mhm.
That's not the point. He believes his old identity, quote unquote, his old self must die.
Yes.
So in order to kill his old self, he has to become someone completely new.
Mhm.
the victims almost become like a proxy for this. They're the ones dying instead of himself.
Right.
And he's just using that to create the new self.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, proxy kind of they're symbolic of him killing part of himself to create something new from it.
And using that death
Yeah.
for creation, like you said, with the skin and whatnot.
And yeah, I mean, the cocoon being placed inside the victim suggests the transformation being imposed on another person at the same time. He can't transform himself naturally, and he knows this. It just adds to his sense of self-loathing, the fact that he knows he can't actually change himself.
Right.
I think that's more of a subconscious thing. He doesn't really let himself think about it too much. But he knows that he's never going to change who he actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And he hates that.
Yeah.
He tries to manufacture this transformation then through the murder of others. Basically transforming them. They're not people anymore. They've become something else. And they do that in his search to become something else himself. But the Death's Head moth specifically is also very telling because historically it's associated with death, obviously. Superstitions, different superstitions across the world. The supernatural kind of ties into that.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's the transition between life and death. That's kind of what generally this moth represents.
Right.
So for Bill, it has now become this perfect symbol. It represents both death and transformation simultaneously for him. So it's exactly what his murders represent. The moth, it's, again, like I said, it's a signature in forensic profiling. So we know, even if it's only mentioned in the movie one time, we know that it was probably found. They went back and looked at other victims like, hey, where is this?
Yep, exactly.
There's no way it could have gotten in this woman's throat accidentally. She couldn't have swallowed it from the river. No, that was put there on purpose. So that's a signature. The signatures are not necessary. They're a psychological thing for the person. Without them, Bill and other killers like him, without that specific signature, it doesn't fulfill that psychological need that they have. It does not emotionally fulfill them. Like, it almost, like, you know how I always say, like, clutter is like an itch in the back of my brain and it bothers me. I think, to me, like, that's the best way I know of to understand why these signatures are necessary for them. Because if they don't do it, then it's like that itch in the back of their brain. And I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else but me. But I don't know. Between the moth, between the aliases, between this horrible skin suit that he was doing, all of these are proof that he hated himself so much.
Mm-hmm.
That he was willing to do the worst possible things to other people. He kept these women alive. I mean, there's an element of psychological torture there just to loosen their skin up. He kept them alive and starved them.
Yeah. He would pick, and it's part of the movie too, he would pick larger women, and then he would, you've seen the thing where it puts the lotion on its skin, which is down in the well.
He's keeping the skin moisturized. He's keeping the skin healthy.
And then starving them so the skin will loosen up, so it's easier to manipulate.
I mean, you've seen the people who lose like massive amount of weight. The skin is very loose. It's very baggy. Like, that's what he was doing to these women. You even, I think that there still probably was a part of him that was still pretty human, because remember when she's down in the pit and she's screaming and she's crying at this point, she's saying, I want my mommy. She is reduced to her basest self. Mm-hmm. I want my mommy. I want to go home. Every single person listening to this, you sitting right here, we all recognize that in ourselves. And you see him become visibly upset by this. Like, he's almost crying, and he finally has to snap himself out of it and scream at her and walk away.
Right.
Because he can't tolerate seeing her as a human being, as a person. Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that the police were doing, was repeatedly saying her name on interviews and on camera,
Well, the
stuff
mother
like that.
specifically, they interviewed her, and
So
she kept saying her name, Catherine.
humanizing
Like,
her, yeah. And speaking of and she was a senator, right? A Republican senator.
Tennessee, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what I liked about it was one of the throwaway scenes, if you will, or throwaway lines. I think actually meant a lot. Was he was talking to her face to face to get some.
He was trying to get like privileges.
Privileges.
And stuff,
that's a good way to say it. But anyway,
she would only give it to him if he gave her information about how to find her daughter.
Yeah.
So,
but as she's walking away, he calls back to her, says, "Hey, I love your suit," and kind of
was it suit or shoes? Love your shoes.
So he said suit. Anyway,
might have been one or the other. I
might
can't
have been
remember.
shoes. Not to think about it. Anyways, in my mind, it was suit. Always has been because of the suit that's being built.
Well, before that, and it's telling because Hannibal still needs. He still has that psychological need to inflict pain on others. Mm-hmm. So he was.
Well, you see him.
He asked if Catherine, the daughter, was breastfed. Did you nurse her? And she said, "Yeah." He said, "Toughen your nipples, didn't it?" Mm-hmm. But, and he said, like most mothers and everything can attest to this. Like if they breastfed their kids and you hear a baby crying, like your physical body reacts to the sound of a baby crying. So he was asking her, like, when it's your little girl on the slab, what part of you is going to tingle then? Mm-hmm. And she was disgusted. She was like, "Take this thing back to Baltimore." And that's when he starts shouting names and everything, descriptions and whatnot. And then as she turns around to leave, that's when he winks at her. That iconic Anthony Hopkins wink in my mind. Mm-hmm. And it's either love. I think it was love your shoes. But it was just that little throwaway line that had nothing to do with anything. And for some reason, like that seems to sting worse than what he said to her about her being a mother and whatnot. Because mothers, we do have a connection to our children. Like, I think if something happened to our daughter, I think physically something in my body would react. I don't know. I mean, thankfully, we've never had to experience anything like that. But I just always think, like, if something were to happen to her, I would know if she was alive or dead.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I hated that whole exchange. Like, it made me uncomfortable. But
Lecter had solved the case way before.
Oh yeah, he knew exactly what to tell him, like how to find him, all that kind of stuff. So, but I know what is it, 8:51 I'm showing.
But one of the things that I liked about Hannibal Lecter, like you said, he needed to inflict that pain on people, even those that he were quote unquote helping. Yeah. That was part of that, I guess, a power thing. Because Lecter, no matter what else, he's a narcissist.
Oh, absolutely. I would say definitely cluster B personality type, which is more the antisocial personality, what we consider psychopathy today. The complete lack of empathy, like no connection to another human being, narcissism, ego, all of that is in play. And we have talked about that on early shows. So I'm not going to go too far into that because we do have juxtaposition on after us tonight. But I want my end thoughts, especially on Buffalo Bill. Hannibal Lecter, like you said, he solved the Buffalo Bill case long before Clarice Starling ever found him. And Clarice was the one that did, like, kind of stumble onto him at this point. But not because he knew where Bill was, but because he understood what Bill wanted. He was able to get into that mindset. The moth was not evidence of a killer obsessed with death. It was evidence of a killer obsessed with rebirth and transformation. Bill wanted to be someone and something else other than what he was. Every victim, every cocoon, every stitch in that awful skin suit, it pointed towards the same desperate goal. James Gum, John Grant, whatever alias he was going by at any given time, he was not trying to become a woman. He was just trying to escape being him.
Right.
That's about the
It's completely rebirth from everything.
But say he just did not want to be himself.
Mm-hmm. But the even we didn't have time for it to really get into it tonight, which we didn't. But the interactions between Lecter and, like I said, the police, the detectives, the people that he was supposedly helping, is pretty amazing as well. It's cinematic masterpiece.
I say
if you
again,
watch
if
it.
anybody has not seen Silence of the Lambs at this point, you need to go find it. I think like Tubi has it for free right now. So yeah, I don't know. Like you said, cinematic masterpiece there.
Mhm.
Like it was so good.
And it's the best Jodie Foster's ever looked, in my opinion.
Yeah, you were telling me that earlier. Like that's the
Yeah.
most attractive you've ever found her.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, really? That one?
Yep. For sure.
Yeah, I think I touched on all the
Well,
main psychological aspects.
We didn't even get to the last movie, which is Hannibal, when he's free, because that, spoiler alert, at the end of Silence of the Lambs, Lecter escapes.
Slaughters guards and everything. That scene, iconic.
Yeah.
Like that one body strung up like an angel almost. Ugh.
But so the third movie is him, Hannibal,
in Italy.
Yeah, in Italy or
Europe,
in
something
Europe,
like that. Yeah,
and he's a free man. He's out in the wild, if you will. And they also change. I want to touch on this. They change Clarice's actress.
Oh, yeah, Jodie Foster after Silence of the Lambs. That end scene where she's in the basement in the dark and everything. All that was real. Like the actor playing Buffalo Bill, he actually did have like the night vision goggles. She did not. She was in the pitch black. So all of that terror, all of her shaking, feeling her way around, all of that is a genuine reaction. And she said after that, like it traumatized her so much, she's like, I'm never doing another one of these movies.
Well, she says that it was traumatic. No matter, I mean, throughout all of it, it was traumatic. But that last scene in the basement is what really done it into her. So she couldn't come back.
Julianne Moore comes into play in Hannibal specifically, and she did very well. I actually liked her in that role. So yeah. I think she did Clarice justice. So
yeah, she did good, and it's a great movie as well. The Hannibal 2001, I think I said it come out.
Yeah,
and it does. You need to watch it because it does kind of tie up the show pretty well.
Yeah,
and you see a whole nother level of Hannibal Lecter too, as far as he's more cultured, more.
He's able to live like the cultured refinement and everything like he always wanted to, but he couldn't in prison.
What is so amazing is the way Anthony Hopkins plays it. How he'll be so proper, and all of a sudden, an animal.
Yes, like absolutely vicious.
Yep.
It's terrifying, actually. I mean, he does it so well. I love that scene. Yep. Okay.
Ray Liotta is in this movie as well.
Yeah, and he is awful person.
Yep.
But that picture on screen, spoiler alert, but yes, Hannibal Lecter feeds, I can't remember what his officer name was in this, but feeds him pieces of his own brain.
Yep, I just wanted to show that part right there. Yeah.
That is, I love that scene. I forgot about that. I love that one.
So, like I said, we could go probably another hour just shooting the breeze about Hannibal Lecter.
I could walk you through each and every movie if we had the time.
You kind of did. So, but
I love those movies. Like that was kind of my almost introduction to like serial killers and stuff like that.
Well, like we said at the beginning, this is starting of a mini series for Front Porch Forensics. The Real Killers. Again, that's REEL, Killers.
Yeah, movie reel.
And we'll be looking at the cinematic universe of serial killers. There'll be some TV shows. There'll be some movies. Basically, silver screen and small screen alike.
Yeah.
Some of the iconic guys that we're going to look at. And in no particular order, we're going to look at Norman Bates, of course, John Doe from Seven, Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
I can't wait for that one. That one's going to be fun.
Dexter Morgan. Of course, that's from, I think it's It's a series. It's not a
Showtime
movie.
series,
It's
yeah.
a series.
Original Showtime series. So
And then we got one, Mr. Brooks, which is kind of one. It's Kevin
love that one.
Costner, right?
Yes, it's Kevin
And
Costner. It's so freaking
it's
good.
kind of a hidden gem movie, and it's really good. We'll look at that. Speaking of a hidden gem, there's a movie series. I think there's two of them, and then a TV series as well called Creep.
The movies, definitely watch those.
And it is about a guy named.
It's played by Mark Duplass.
Yeah, he's got a couple of aliases. In the first movie, Creep, he goes by Joseph. And in the second movie, Creep 2, he goes by Aaron, which is the victim in movie number 1. So you assume that Joseph is also a victim. But
Probably.
He's got another alias or persona called, Peach Fuzz.
The werewolf.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Creep,
so
y'all.
good.
Creep is wonderful. It's almost like a found footage movie as well.
Yeah.
But then we'll also look at Ghostface, Sweeney Todd.
Some of the more iconic ones, yeah.
Ghostface is good because it's a copycat. We can look at the
I definitely want to touch on the psychology of copycat killers.
And then Ben, which is a new one from this movie called Apex that we just watched.
Ask him how I react to that.
Very good. When we get to it, we will. But it's 8:59 right now, so we're going to go ahead and shut down for the night. So you guys, you know where to find me, Front Porch FP_forensics on X, Front Porch Forensics on YouTube, Bump.Ken on X.
You run the Facebook page too, but under the same
name.
There's
a Front Porch Forensics. If there's a Front Porch Forensics page, I run it.
You can find me mainly Barbie on X. I've got some other pages that I run and everything, but they're not anything worth mentioning this late and everything. So everybody knows my plant obsession and my animal obsession. So
yep. So hopefully we'll be back next week, next Saturday, same time, 7 p.m. Central, and go to klrnradio.com. You can find a bunch of other, a plethora of other podcasts and shows to look for. We have a store. You can find some merchandise. klrnradio.com is the place to go. Front Porch Forensics, you search it by name. Everything that we have will pop up. But so y'all come join us next week. But until then,
y'all please behave and don't do anything that's going to land you on an episode of our show.
That's right. Bye-bye, y'all.
My phone completely died.
What did you do?
I went downstairs, outside. I crept up into the barn. I was so scared to look inside, but I had to.
What did you see, Clarice? What did you see?
Lambs. They were screaming.
They were slaughtering the spring lambs?
And they were screaming.
And you ran away?
No. First I tried to free them. I opened the gate to their pen, but they wouldn't run. They just stood there, confused. They wouldn't run.
But you could, and you did, didn't you?
Yes. I took one lamb and I ran away as fast as I could.
Where were you going, Clarice?
I don't know. I didn't have any food, any water, and it was very cold. It was very cold. I thought if I could save just one, but he was so heavy. It was so heavy. I didn't get more than a few miles. And the sheriff's car picked me up. Rancher was so angry, he sent me to live at the Lutheran orphanage in Postman. I never saw Ranch again.
What became of your lamb, Clarice?